Yeah, the first image, yes.
Yeah.
It's
I figured everyone.
what did you want me to like hit you with like a fake name?
No, I thought that this was like maybe like just a I mean, I guess she can be a celebrity. She's famous.
And I'm sitting with somebody here that I've known for a very long time. A good friend of mine, someone who, much like me, was born in a place and traveled to another and has been in and out of that home sweet home, that hometown pride. Someone who he would say is a longtime gay friend of mine. Or he might also say that he's the biggest and the gayest friend I have. Biggest in like the metaphorical way. He is shorter than me. But I'm like 5'6", so like whatever. What does it matter? In our escapades together, he has always been a writer and a reader. He has a degree in English and cantology. If you know him, you know he's good for conversation and for introspection. He's filled with vulnerability. I mean, this boy starts at the heart level and only goes deeper. I mean, that's why we're friends, you know. Never a simple convo with me, I'll tell you that. And in this short introduction, I can't describe his multitudes, which is like true for like most queers. Today, I have the pleasure to sit down and talk about a little movie that bubbled up some thoughts and some feelings in my friend here. And he actually introduced it to me, and it bubbled up a lot of thoughts in me and emotions in me too. So today, I want to welcome my good friend, Jacob. Welcome to the pod.
Hello, AP.
That's right. I am AP, your number one dove, hitting at you live.
It's me, your gayest friend for sure. And I just feel like I'm the one.
I introduce you this way because I think that's how you like to be introduced.
Right.
Yeah, like you and I, we kind of sit in an interesting spot in each other's history. I think something that we talk a lot about is like how we're like two dragons circling over a magical and mystical lake, breathing fire and breathing ice, and just making this kind of like declaration that fate and existence all intertwines, and you can always create a narrative around that. So like our conversation is always like, hey, why don't we connect every single experience we ever had to this new one we just have? And that's why I'm excited to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, likewise. I'm just as excited to be here.
Today, we're going to talk about the movie Queer.
Right.
2024's Queer, directed by Luca Guadagnino and written by Justin Kuritsekas. And it stars Daniel Craig as the head queer, Drew Starkey as the lowercase queer, ? Jason Schwartzman, and a handful of other actors. This is the second movie that Luca dropped in 2024. Second, like, queer one, too. Because he started the year by dropping Challengers. And if you haven't seen Challengers and Queer, definitely go see them. This is the type of podcast episode where I'm like, just go watch them. They're good movies. Just watch them.
Did you see Challengers by chance?
I did see, yes.
I saw Challengers in the same movie theater that you went to see a movie in.
Nice.
Yeah, by myself. It was an empty movie theater too. I honestly enjoyed it. I know that it got a lot of mixed and negative reviews, so I like the film.
So you've seen Luca's work before?
I have, yes.
That-
I honestly, until you just said that, I did not know that Luca was the director of Challengers. So
This is something about us, right? Is that like you and I, we watch and read a whole bunch of different things, but we're never like completionists. You know, we don't jump into like the whole discography of an artist.
correct, yes. I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, we don't jump into the whole discography of an artist.
But we don't like categorize everything and like have an opinion on everything. But the things that we like in an artist, we go in deep. We
Right.
drill.
Right. 100%. Yeah, I can agree. I can agree with you there.
And so, like, what is your history with the movie Queer?
My history with the movie Queer was So of course I just saw that like HBO released a movie called Queer, and Daniel Craig was in it, and the guy from Outer Banks, is it Drew Starkey?
Yes.
Was in it, and I was just like, when I saw him in Outer Banks, I was like, like he did like it's kind of a shitty. I mean, I honestly love. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I loved Outer Banks. Everybody, shout out Outer Banks! Like, I can't wait for another season. But yeah, like obviously, like the acting in that show and like the writing isn't great. So I was interested to see. I was like, oh wow, he's in this role in the movie Queer. So like, I have to see. And also just I was in a bit of a dark place. I was staying with my parents at the time, and I watched it in my childhood bedroom in like the dark. And like it was like a very plain. Like I was just like, I'm gonna watch this movie in my kid bedroom in the dark, and like get really stoned while I do it, and just like sit here and just gay the fuck out. And like I watched it on my laptop and everything, like laying down with the blankets over my head. So that's my connection to the movie Queer, and just obviously I ID'd so hard with a lot of the situations and feelings that the film portrayed. So
And there's so much. Like, Luca is kind of known to be this very erotic director, really approaching things, the existence and the life of people through their eroticism. And this is like present in the movie. And yeah, like Queer has like, of course, queer themes. This movie is really about like yearning, about loneliness, about being in the closet, about shame, about power dynamics. The queer infinity stones. And we're gonna talk a little bit about that. We're also gonna talk about like maybe some orientalizing Latin America a little bit, and we're gonna talk about addiction, because those are all like right there up front, very visible, very on its face. And because this is like new to me, I have zero history. I've seen Challengers. I've seen, I think, another Luca movie with Bones and All. I saw Bones and All. And I saw Call Me By Your Name too. But I stopped watching Call Me By Your Name like 20 minutes in. I was just not super interested in it.
it was good. Chalamet.
I don't even know what that is.
Chalamet. Timothy.
Oh, okay.
Timothée.
I thought that was like an inside joke about the movie. Like,
No, it's if anybody's seen that one movie about the end of the world. Anyway, they're like Timothée Chalamet, and it's like, yeah. Anyway, it was so good. I know that somebody out there knows exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. That's a movie that you need to watch. Anyway, side note, I can't. It's like the last day of before the world ends, and like everybody knows it. Like you have like a warning, so like everybody's like doing their rounds and
yeah.
and like it's in LA, of course. Shout out to LA.
Of course.
Shout out LA.
I live every single day like it's gonna be my last in LA. Okay, so I'm over here
Right.
watering my plants, eating sushi, yelling at my PA. Everything you would do in the last day on Earth in LA.
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing, except for I'm yelling at my PO.
Yeah, your post office. Yeah, I get that.
Yes.
Yeah, we all have to yell at our PO boxes every once in a while.
Shout out to the post office workers. Thanks for the work that you're doing on the ground.
Truly, rain or shine, and like rain or shine, I think gays are gonna yearn.
Absolutely. I would say that the yearning in this film is at the forefront.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere, if you will. I mean, and if there's one thing us gays know how to do, it's yearn.
There's some moments where like there's like a supernatural like concept to this, right? Like,
Right.
and Lee, the character played by Daniel Craig, like has these moments where he's like translucent or like a phantom of a hand touches somebody else, his love interest, Allerton, and or like he sees some glimpses of possible like internal struggles in people, and all of that is to me yearning.
Yes.
I think there's no queer out there that hasn't imagined like dragging their finger across some possible love interest chest or like arms, neck.
Just staring at the neck
And
and the veins.
And I know there's queers out there that like imagine it and add the like physical aspect, as in like they drag their own fingers across their own like chest or neck, and like that shit is right there.
It's right there. It's right in there.
What do you see in this like queer yearning?
I see. So what I see from the beginning, like what we're all gonna see is an alcoholic mess of a man in Lee. He is spiraling, but like that's his go-to, right? And like he's made it. We don't know much about Lee. So
Nothing.
All we know is that like yes, like there is this yearning here, and he's
got money.
He's got money.
He's an American in Mexico City,
and he's a promiscuous man. Like he's we like to be. I'm sex positive. He's a slut, and like there's no shame in that. Shout out
he's
to
putting
my
up
sluts.
numbers.
I've slutted. I've done a lot of slutting, and so what I think of when I think of like his yearning is like his yearning for just more, or like something else, and alcohol, sex, acceptance. So yeah, it's kind of like that scale pendulum. Like on one side you have like acceptance, and on the other you have.
Well, in the case of this movie, it's disembodiment.
Right. Correct.
I think Lee is yearning for the things that you mentioned. I think though the major thing, the thing up there in the Himalayas and the Andes is acceptance, as you said. Like he is yearning for a level of acceptance that he can't provide himself, and it seems like everyone else around is willing to give a sense of acceptance, but he does not want it. It needs to be kind of like this self-acceptance, this internal desire, this internal yearning to say, I want to be gay, I want to be liked, and also I want to do it in my terms.
Right. Yeah. And not only does he want to do it on his terms, like, I mean, like, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean do it on his terms? I want to know.
So there are multiple times where Lee kind of gives monologues to Allerton and to anyone that would listen to, like
Right.
Like a regular drunk. I know this from experience. Self-experience and giving and receiving, pitching and catching. Oh! And then one of those, he talks about his time in the States dealing with the word, as he said, that wretched word, homosexual, where he learns about this being a burden. Well, he gets forced to think of it as a burden. And he gives this conversation where this old queen, as he says, Bobo,
Bobo.
where Bobo says, you have to take this burden proudly. You have to survive. You have to like present sincerity to a world that hates. And that, I think, is a declaration. That is the movie literally saying, yo, this is the motivation of Lee. Lee hates himself. Lee hates being gay. Lee also kind of hates the other gays around him. He has his token gay friend. I'm talking from experience here again. And he has this yearning to take that pain, that burden, and throw it away.
Yes. I totally know what you mean there. Yes, and that's where like that's his journey to South America, to the jungle,
And the
if you
thing,
will.
and the thing that like causes him a lot of like disaster in his own life. That's where the like alcoholism and the addiction comes in. He's trying to like, he's not willing to like take up the mantle of like sincerity and live sincerely gay amongst all the every fairy he could find. He doesn't want that shit. So he like suffocates it through with substances and with the search for the next substance, which is the trip to South America.
Right. I can identify with Lee so hard in his wanting to get rid of that, or not wanting that and seeing it as a burden. I think that's why I just identified with Lee and queer so much, was just because I've also spent a period of my life hating myself and doing drugs and alcohol to disconnect.
Which is common.
Which is so common in our community, isn't that right, folks? I mean, come on, we're a dime a dozen out here. My gays, my lesbians, all of us. We're my bis, my pans, my
when like the most powerful people in your like area, whether that might be the country, the state, the town, or the church, are like,
church.
yo, don't be gay. That shit's fucked up. You kind of like internalize that.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what Lee did.
Yes, 100%. That is what Lee did. And Lee is, I mean, as I see it, he's a drunken mess. Yeah, like you said, and he's trying. He doesn't want what Bobo suggested, and he's doing anything in his power to to destroy himself.
To destroy himself, in it maybe the easier thing is to say to destroy the gay shit in him.
Yes, to
Like-
destroy that gay.
Like this movie is about like that yearning, that kind of like isolation and loneliness that comes about from an unresolved sense of yearning. And that's why like he jumps deep into trying to like court Allerton. He sees somebody new, maybe somebody that like just bubbles something inside him that is beyond this like self-hatred, the shame that he feels. And like that internal like yearning for like self-acceptance can be externalized through the yearning for this cute ass boy.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that, in a certain way, like Allerton, like, I'm just thinking of this now, that like kind of like Allerton being closeted, and like Lee wanting Allerton so badly. It's like he wants Allerton to be okay with being gay. Like he wants Allerton to be okay with the thing that he's not okay with himself. And I don't know where that falls into play, but it definitely, there's something there when it comes to like just Lee chasing a closeted man.
Right. Well, it finally becomes like something that he doesn't have to like. It's a physical fetish that like that is developed. Like Allerton is a thing that he can touch, feel, comprehend, taste. He could do all of that and want that to be reciprocated. And I think that's the reason why like he gets kind of like shaken from this shambling mess that he is, where all we know is that all he does is drink, try to get laid, and
He does heroin.
and do drugs. Yes.
He's a heroin addict, which was so surprising to me because I didn't know that people could function like. I always assumed like heroin was like specifically just like you do it and then like you pass out in your bed and you throw up a little bit. But yeah, like he's out here like just doing his life high on heroin and like getting drunk.
Yeah.
Which is, I just don't know how he's standing up straight is, I guess is what I'm getting at.
It's before Fence came around Mexico City, right?
Right.
He could do heroin the way that like the Velvet Underground talked about doing heroin, just enjoying it, maybe making some better music out of it.
Well, he eats it.
Yeah, which is not something I've seen.
No, me either. I mean, like it makes sense, I guess, but like no, I haven't seen that either. I'm assuming that it's harm reduction based. That's just from experience.
That's like one of the things about this guy is that I just don't think I think he doesn't care about anything, including his health, including his like even like larger ambitions of like finding telepathy and like being able to like connect to the spiritual. Because I mean I don't think heroin could like do that for you.
No.
I do heroin to feel closer to God. Because he's a guy with shame. Nothing but shame. Everything inside him is shame, 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 shame. He is clearly like, he's got money. He's got some sort of notoriety. I think a lot of people find him attractive in his clique out in Mexico City. The Green Lantern Boys, as he says. But he's still just aimless.
Right. And like, I mean, I'm going to say this and like, I know full and well what I'm saying, but I'm just going to say like, I mean, it's hard for me. It's like, who cared about Lee? You know, like you're saying that Lee cares about nothing. And it's like, I think that like Lee cares about nothing. And that's just like in turn of like, who's cared about Lee?
Yeah. He seems to be someone who's really never been loved, and also someone who like probably rejects love.
I'm going to presume that he comes from money, obviously. Like it seems like he just has this like disposable income, and what I've, known from like, let's just reference like Super Rich Kids by Frank Ocean, like, too many bottles of this wine we can't pronounce.
He says, he's like someone with independent means.
Yes. Independent means.
And I think it's visible, like he doesn't lift a finger. And in fact, he like takes an international like trip to find an international trip.
I think that's also something that like when I first watched this film, I was like a little bit jealous. I'm just like, how the fuck is he just getting fucked up and like he doesn't work?
Yeah, if your whole goal is to be like fucked up 24/7, he's living it. He's got the perfect setup.
Literally. Oh my god, it's perfect. And I was just like, I don't know. I guess like the first time it's worth a couple watches because the first time personally I was just like I was dumbfounded. I was just like, man, this man is just like he's getting so fucked up and like he just has an apartment and like, like he's not like living on the street or anything. Like he's like wearing like suits, like crisp linen suits, and he doesn't look. His teeth are perfect.
Yeah,
I mean, he looks rough. It's interesting
Not
because
in the beginning.
that's what I was just about to say. I was like, it's interesting because he looks different stages of rough throughout the film. Like he looks like better and worse and better and worse.
Uh-huh.
So there's that, which is like common, I think, when you're trying to portray addiction.
And he had the thing that he's looking for is like telepathy. And I think like like a connection to telepathy. He already says that he has like experienced it, but he wants to go find this plant that enhances the telepathic abilities within a person. A plant that he calls yage. And I think the search for this plant is, well, furthering this point that he's like yearning, that he's alone, that he feels separated from everybody, that his gayness is a burden. And what he wants to do is have this ability of telepathy to do exactly as he says other people are doing. The Russians, he says the Russians, not even the Soviets for whatever reason, but he says the Russians are trying to use it for mind control. And, like instant communication between two minds. Like he wants that so he could almost immediately, without effort, without the pain and the embarrassment and the awkwardness of getting to know someone, to just say, hey, it's all right that I'm gay, it's all right that you're gay, how about we're gay together, and like we remove this like shame and sense of loneliness from within us immediately, as soon as we get to know each other, as soon as we understand each other.
You think that that's what Lee was trying to do?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Like, why does he search for telepathy if not to like instantaneously bring someone into how he feels?
Yeah, I feel that so hard. Yeah.
How do you see it?
I mean, so for me, I spent a lot of years like doing LSD, MDMA, things of that nature. So, yeah, I think that like there was
For the search of like...
for the search of connection to something other than myself, something like, because the not liking yourself, you're constantly searching for like what's going to make me like myself, I guess. And I did put a lot of like unrealistic expectations on these experiences in that way by going into them. I think as Lee is going into a lot of experiences, like thinking that it's going to do something for him, where, like that's like not respecting the substance at all. Yeah.
Trying to search for something that is like impossible to get. Like there is no individual substance that's going to make you feel connected to other people in the way that you would want it.
Well, you can't control it. And I think that like that's like a big key here is like we can only control how we react to things. And that's just like, that's pretty much it. So like he can't control it.
He can't control it. And he controls everything else.
Every single thing else, but like he can't control it. So like he's willing to do this thing that like you makes you lose like all control. Like, like you're not in control anymore. Like it's taking over. So I think that like I identify in that same way as like constantly putting myself into these altered states of consciousness and search for question mark. Like I'm just like uncomfortable for 12 hours sometimes. Like, it was, yeah. So I feel you, Lee.
And Lee, yeah, I think Lee is uncomfortable. Like this movie shows that like there's this sense of that, like, yeah, maybe he likes it, but it's not exactly the answer. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's a good swing. Sometimes it's a bad swing. I do think that like telepathy here works as this ultimate, this ultimate ungettable search. for like a final like level of acceptance that he can't ever get any other way. He's already got money. He's already got like connections. He's someone who walks around with a pistol. So like he's like he's someone with like a sense of like bravado and confidence we see in everything. Like even in one of the early scenes, he just walks up to this guy who's sitting alone next to a picture of the Virgen de Guadalupe, and he just like hits on him, and then bam, he's in them guts. They bring in the towel, and he gets in there. So like it's almost as if it's this final thing that he can't get because he can get everything else, and therefore might as well just throw it all in there because he can't find any other way to find this acceptance and this like larger sense of connection that he wants.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, have you seen this? Like, I feel like I've had these kind of like 3 a.m. conversations with people where it's like, oh, if you do a tab, like it just gets you closer, a higher vibrational state, a higher sense of connection.
Well, here's the thing with hallucinogens. It's like they're if you're getting closer to yourself, then that's where the magic happens. But like if you're just like popping a tab just to like party, like that's not what it's about. Like you're doing it. I mean, like if that's your intention and you just like want to have a good time, then like that's cool. But just like abusing it is what I'm saying, I guess. And like how like people abuse drugs and like don't have respect for things. It's like, but like going in and getting closer to yourself is like it's what it's all about. So like you can't do that with like, you know, cocaine. Like I'm not like getting closer to my. I mean, you know, go out and have like a fun night on cocaine with your friends and like, you know, I mean, I totally that can definitely bring some people closer. Absolutely. So you know what? There's many facets and so many ins and outs to this that it's like, wow.
But there is like, but the variable there can change, right? Like,
Right.
A spicy chicken sandwich at the right time could get you closer to people too.
Yes.
Equally as cocaine, I'm gonna go ahead and say yes.
Yes. 100%.
Right? Because it's not just like doing the thing, having the thing, expressing the thing. You have to like want to connect. You have to want to like provide an avenue for someone to walk into your heart and vice versa.
Right. I think so too. I'm just reading this note that about somebody commenting on like how did they have perfect bodies while they smoked and drank all day. I'm just like bad analysis. Like you can have a banging ass body and fucking smoke a pack a day and like drink like a sailor, cuss like
True.
yeah, for real.
I mean, I have my perfect abdominal muscles bulging out because I curse like a sailor. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucker.
Me too. So the yearning. We're talking about yearning, and
You know, I feel like I feel like I don't yearn for anyone. I feel like I have
that's right.
zero queer yearning.
oh, okay, that's right. Queer yearning, like it's like we're talking about yearning, and now we're talking like, and now you bring up the term queer yearning. So I'm like,
I mean, like implied, right? But
Right,
like, I
right.
feel like I have no queer yearning at all. Like, I have my little crushes. I ask people out. They ask me over.
I have so much queer yearning. It's like
What is it? How does it represent? What does it like? How does it manifest? I really don't know.
I think it's. I have been ill. I mean, with these allergies, I know everybody out here in Illinois is like, you know. But how does it manifest? It's like there's just tension, you know. Like there's just like it feels like there's like sexual tension with someone, you know. Like even if there's not, like you feel it there, and it's like, when I was like with my ex, like when I was with my ex, like he had a brother-in-law who like I obviously could just tell was interested in men. I could just tell, like when you can just, or at least me. And then down the road,
Uh-huh.
it comes out that he is like super interested in men. And like, I don't know. It's just like, there's like that sort of like, I don't know. It's like when people can just like tell and like, there's like a little bit of like tension. I guess like yearning and tension, I think maybe go hand in hand here, but maybe I'm wrong.
Tension.
Yearning and tension. It's like, I feel like so like, yeah, I think the tensity of yearning.
I because I am like, I don't know, like sometimes I'm a bit of a salamander, a caracal out in the savannah. Like I don't. I guess what I don't understand by yearning is it feels like there's an aspect to yearning that involves barriers. Like added barriers, either like self-imposed or like externally imposed onto you. Like you're talking about this person, this guy, where like you could like look at him and be like, oh, that guy's a little bit of a fruit. I mean, probably, right? Like,
Right.
but like, why did he not jump out and immediately say, yo, where can I drop some thick ropes onto some boys, like some fellas, some guys? Like, why? I don't know. Because I feel like since day one, and I came out last year on the podcast, whatever. Since day one, I've like kind of just been like, just open about it.
Right. Well, you had yeah, and that's awesome. Do you think that that's like due to like having like maybe more time to marinate, or like like I mean like or like being closeted longer?
The first time I described myself as any level of queer, I was 18.
Okay.
Which, like, I mean, I immediately threw myself back in the closet, right? Like, I don't exactly know why per se. But what I do know is that even now, and like we've been together for like, I don't know, like maybe almost 40 hours. We've been just hanging out for a long time. I've brought up people that I have interest in. And like but I've also told you I've go on dates. I get people's numbers. There's almost I think one of the reasons that I don't connect with the concept of queer yearning is because I'd rather have an answer. I'd rather get rejected.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I totally know what you mean now. Like I mean I think that I know exactly what you mean when you say that. Like you'd rather just do it. Put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And yeah, absolutely. And I love that for you. And I think that I mean, you said that you want a bunch of different you want to like, get involved in some situationships.
Well, what I
He's
just
playing
described is just being a little more open, a little more like
Right.
not searching for like the monogamous partner, not looking for my Allerton.
Well, it's always been like, I mean, like being in my experience, like growing up, it's always been something that you have to hide. So yearning and like lust and like and keeping things secretive, and it goes with it comes with the territory. So I think that like
With the gay territory.
with the gay territory,
Like not to be too like fucking encyclopedic about here, but like Jacob's gay. Like that's a man loving man type of guy over there, and I'm a man, loving women, loving non-binary people, loving maybe just be cool and chill and let's have fun.
But I just want to be clear that like and like Pride Month is over, but like it's Pride all year, and like I just think that like I mean yes, I am a gay man, everyone, but like that's only because both gay and man were terms that were put on me. So it's like that's what I'm rolling with. Yes, gay man.
And that's what I've known of you.
Yes,
right?
100%.
Like this, that expression is what I've known about you.
That's what everybody has. Yes.
And I think what you're saying, and like what we've talked about over the last like 40 hours, is that it's just growing up gay is actually just different than growing up the way that I did. I still like women. I still could pass as straight. And this fag can't pass as straight.
Yes. No, I can't. And like, not even if I tried. Like, I came out of the womb quoting Mean Girls. Like Tina Fey didn't. She didn't know, but like I was in the writing room with her at 9. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So like, I mean, you can't hide it, and like people know, and it's like it's just this thing that like people also choose to brush under the rug, like that they. And like nobody really knows what to do. It's just kind of like, like it's awkward because like everybody's like, well, fucking good luck. Like you're gonna have a life full of struggling, and it's like, and that's just is what it is. It's like it's the cards that you're dealt when you're growing up in like cornfield USA.
And I think that is a little bit of a difference, right? Because I could still like hang out with guys and like talk about like women, right? When we were growing up, that was not the standard. Like, of course, there's probably pockets in America where there's like enough gay people that like they could do that. I don't know, like the fucking New York or something, Portland, Cleveland or some shit. But like, yeah, where we are right now, in the ass crack of the Mississippi, ain't not enough queers around to just have that level of gay acceptance.
We're in like we're in like the tip of Lincoln's nose. Like it's like they make out the outline of Illinois to be Lincoln's face, and I feel like Quincy is right there at the tip of Lincoln's nose, and like this like little belly right next to Missouri. Yeah. So like like how like I think that we're close to Hannibal, Missouri, and Tom Sawyer like took off with that like hulking man, and they had like that homoerotic adventure together on the Mississippi. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted when I was a boy. It was just like for some big strong man to sweep me up and like throw me on his raft and take me down the Mississippi away from all of this mess.
In your once again, super common. I think that's a super common thing to be like, hey, ain't no queers around me. I just wish this one image of a queer person would come in and like resolve my issues.
You got to see it to be it, man. And like I saw nothing. Like there was no queer people when I grew up. Like there was no. There was none. They kept to themselves, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it wasn't accepted, and yeah.
I have no like yeah, that's why I think growing up in a city, in a couple of different cities, like I knew that like gay people existed. But yeah, I just this is one thing about this movie that I can't like really like connect with, the yearning part.
Right.
The loneliness part, sure. I guess. Like who hasn't been lonely in the 20th century? Like the 21st century, I should say. Like I don't know. What do you think about Allerton? I feel like we talked a lot about Lee.
Right. So Allerton played by what? Drew Starkey?
Yeah.
A hottie, and so he's just like he's a buttoned up, chip off the old block kind of reserved guy. He wears like tortoise frame glasses, like wire frame, gold frame glasses.
He's dressed just gay. There's no other way of describing.
But he's dressed like sharp, and it's like it's gay because it's tucked in. Like he's tucked in gay. He's tucked in, haircut gay.
Wearing long pleated pants up to the waist.
But okay, the only way that he can not be gay is if like he is selling something, or like maybe in sports medicine. Like that's the only way that like he could not be gay and look like that. But any other like those are the only scenarios where he's not gay. And so Allerton, I mean, shit, we don't know much about him, and I feel like a very complex character.
Because we know even less about him than we do about Lee, and we know nothing about Lee.
I think that everybody's is kind of a complex character because we don't really know much about anyone, but Allerton especially so, because he's just so, I mean, what's his deal? Like, what is his deal?
He's like young. He was in naval intelligence, I guess, has in World War II, and he's tall.
He is tall.
tall, slim, and loves to play chess.
He loves to play chess. He loves Mary, which I feel like Mary's just a hag.
Like, we don't know anything about Allerton.
No, nothing. I mean,
We don't even know for certain if he is gay or not.
No, we don't. I mean, and I think that maybe Allerton is like very representative of all of you out there who don't feel the need to put a label on your sexuality because you don't have to. And I think that Allerton is like, I think that he's really feeling those feelings of like without saying them. Like that's what I'm getting from him. It's like a quizzical like, why the fuck do I have to decide? He's like, sometimes I like when Lee fucks me, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I smack him across the face.
Yeah, sometimes I hang out with a bombshell redhead just cause.
Just cause.
Just cause, maybe.
Just cause. And like I make her laugh a lot, and like it seems like I'm about to propose at any minute.
Or maybe sometimes you just go to like gay parties with another just guy that hangs out.
So we know he's hot. We know we don't really know anything. I mean, what you said about his career.
Former military, yeah, that's it. That's kind of it.
Yeah. And so we know that he is interested in Lee, kind of, in some sort of way. He keeps coming around. I mean, I know that Lee's like persistently coming around him, but also he's like...
Yeah, Lee is trying to like wither this guy down, and he does.
Yes, absolutely. He does wither him down, which is like kind of exhausting to see. I mean, it's exhausting in like that it's sad in certain ways because it's like I mean, somebody's got to do it.
I don't know what like is holding back Allerton. I had this feeling that like, as you said, maybe there's no like precise word that he would use to describe his sexuality. But like, I don't know, he might be bisexual, you know? He might be into fellas sometimes, into like fellettes some other time.
I think that he's just straight up gay, but that's just me.
But why not connect with Lee? Like, if there's this like chase that Lee pursues Allerton and Allerton kind of accepts it, why not just get in there?
Because Lee wakes up and chooses chaos every single fucking morning. That is why you don't like. That's why the hesitation with Lee, I would say, is like. I mean, like, walks into this man's apartment and like there's just like heroin, like a spoon chilling, like with like some heroin residue and like all these beans and shit. Like, it's like. So I don't know. Might hesitate.
Like if Allerton is gay, as you said, like why isn't he? Why is there no reciprocity there? Why is there no consistent reciprocity?
You're asking why he doesn't want. Why won't he just like be gay with Lee?
Yeah,
because Lee is like wakes up and like does heroin and drinks all day, like from like the moment that his crusty eyes peel open to the moment that his head smacks the pillow. So I mean, I right? Is that am I?
Yes, absolutely. Like Lee has problems, but Allerton is like he's not like blind to them.
Well, yeah, and I think that's but we're not. We're just we're talking about Allerton's resistance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like his resistance, I believe, is the fact that like Lee is, I mean, yeah, I think that his resistance is to the fact that Lee is fucked up, and like like he's just like, well, I mean, he's got all this money, I can see Allerton's like perspective and like all of the moves that he's making kind of perfectly clear in a way, like as the movie goes on, like of just like, yeah, like I can fix him. Like, I can handle this man, and, like, he has money.
Yeah. I mean, Allerton has to baby, like, Lee on the second half of this movie.
Well, and that's just because, like, from what I've learned about, like, what you've done to your brain as a drug addict, like, that it's literally like a teenage brain. So your thoughts are starting in the primitive part of your brain, and then you might use the frontal lobe to like plan some shit. But that's pretty much it on like the logic side of it all. So like it is like, and like you said, dealing with a child
Yeah.
and babying someone. Yes.
My thought is just Allerton, like at a certain, like I think he's closeted.
Yes.
I think he's like clearly closeted in some way. I think being around this guy, Lee, is not the most, it's not the weirdest or most difficult thing he's done. He's like a highly intelligent person. He was part of the counterintelligence program in World War II. Like he spent time in Scotland, probably doing some counter espionage shit. He's a soldier. He's a veteran of World War II. I don't think Allerton lacks, and this is taking some leaps here, right? But I don't think Allerton lacks the ability to say, no, I've had enough. This is not for me. I think there is some level of interest there.
Yes.
But what is the thing holding him back? What is that queer yearning that he put on himself as a barrier to say no? The suzeraning of this fella is not enough for me to just bloom in my queerness. Like, what is it?
I mean, I wish I could say that it's just shame, but like I feel like that's too easy of an answer. But I mean, maybe it's just as simple as that. Like, Allerton's just like deeply ashamed, like Lee.
Mm-hmm.
It just manifests differently, and I mean, they're obviously in different stages. Allerton's much younger, so yeah.
This is something that, like, I've been thinking a lot about. Like, this movie came out in 2024. Like, we are living in a time of great, like, backsliding. A lot of regression is happening in the United States, like, politically, socially, culturally, like, a lot. To the point where, like, the Supreme Court decision that, like, gave gay people access to marriage legally here in the United States across the country, Virga fell. Like, people assume that that's on the chopping block, that the Supreme Court is gonna rule against it. So John Roberts is gonna go from saying, yeah, this shit's cool, to being like, whoa, maybe not that cool.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's only been like 9 years since Virga fell. Or 10 years since Virga fell.
Yeah, I can remember being in the kitchen getting ready for a day at community college when that was announced on the Today Show. I'm pretty sure, like, I was in the kitchen with my parents, and like I was a closeted gay man of 19 years old, and like just doing my own little, like, you know, celebration, pop the confetti in my head of like, oh man, like shit, like I can get married, and that was just yeah. I can remember it so clearly.
It was monumental.
It was monumental, and I can remember it so clearly of just being in the kitchen and really celebrating with everyone around the country, like a long time coming. Because 2015, people, that's not long ago. Like,
Yeah.
that is like, that's nothing. Like,
I was working in a laboratory, and I got a notification on my phone that was like, yo, yeah, you can be gay now.
fully.
So, like, I bring up this to say, like, what are the creators of this movie saying by putting Allerton, someone that lacks any real sense of gay acceptance within himself? Like, what is the point of this character in the 2020s? Where I think some of this story, or maybe a lot of this story, feels a little outdated. It feels from the perspective of an older generation still working through the difficulties of that generation. Like, I think about, like, the other creators, like Eyo Aduibe, like the in Bottoms, where it's not even in question of like, is it okay to be gay? No, you can just be gay. You can just like fuck and be a little weirdo theater kid wrestling people, fighting people. Like, that is there's a level of complexity to Bottoms that I only see in a more developed and a more advanced social and cultural position that has come through a sense of gay acceptance over the last like couple of decades. And I think about Allerton, where there's still people walking around DL or in the closet, or in its acceptance like universal. No, but I think what it in the larger picture, what does Allerton show in the 2020s? If not, there's just been an it's just an I from what I can tell, from my point of view, there is this older gay shame or older like generational point of view of what it is, what it means to be gay, to be queer.
Yeah. And it will never go away. I think that that's like what this movie's trying to say. I know what you mean, yeah, and I feel like, yeah, the movie is just like it's reminding us that that will ever be a part of queer history, is the pain of not being able to be who you are. And I mean, yeah, like I think that like we all, what I'd like to believe is that we all go through things so we can help other people, right? So I think that that's like where queer people have an advantage on like the level of empathy,
Mm-hmm.
and and being able to care for disenfranchised groups, um, and you know, including their own disenfranchised group. So, um, what was the question?
There was no question here. I was just presenting this. I like this movie. I also struggle to see myself in it.
Okay, yeah, and like that's valid. I mean, because I mean, like I feel like from what we were talking about, like you feel like you have no queer yearning.
I have zero queer yearning. Yeah,
Yeah, and also
I get horny. Don't get me wrong, but I act on it.
right,
I
right,
dial 999
right. Down 999 if you bumping that
because I'm bumping that.
to the windows crack. I'll be bumping that. Yeah, all you DL men hit me up, by the way. You brought up DL men, and I was just like, yes. I'm just kidding. Obviously, I'm joking. Please don't hit me up.
This I struggle to see myself in this, not because I can't, whatever. I guess I am part of a generation that like could fully present themselves the way they wanted to, and like there was a moment in our history where like being queer, being gay was like in was able to flower in a way. And I am very fortunate to be part of that time in history where that was allowed. I think the newest generations, Gen Z, are are some of the most openly queer generation. Or I think it is the most openly queer generation.
I agree.
And I think about that generation, and I think about how they present themselves in their art. And I wonder like I wonder what like the what a 21-year-old would see in queer. Like I
Yeah, like would they be like, what the fuck? Like, why can't you just go fuck?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think they wouldn't I don't know. I get this feeling that
Which is beautiful. Which is
it
beautiful.
is.
Which is lovely, by the way. Like, can we please? Because like, I just as somebody who's like who has dealt with like so much shame, so much gay shame, and like so much hate for themselves. It's like it is such a relief to see people just being like it's a relief to hear you say that and to like actually and to think, oh, you're right. Like people who are 21, 18 are gonna see queer and be like yeah, like they don't have that experience and like they don't like you maybe don't like, you know, see themselves in that movie because
Mhm.
of circumstance and how far we've come as a country. And yes, we are taking steps back, and like this is going to be a very long 3.5 years that we've got, and buckle up, Buttercups. I guess we're in it together. So
I think also there's some DNA here. This movie is based on William S. Burroughs' book, novella called Queer. And in that came out in the 50s, Burroughs seems to have some history like enjoying the male sex too. Or at least he was like with a bunch of gays and queers and lesbians in New York back in the day. And but Burroughs was married to a woman, and he killed that woman.
whoa.
He killed that
Whoa.
woman in the exact same way that Lee kills Allerton in some of the ending scenes here.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, like putting a cup on the head to try to shoot it off.
Oh.
That's a trick called the William Tell, which comes from like a cowboy show from way back in the day.
Okay.
And when we saw this movie yesterday, we talked about it. I thought it was Lee trying to kill the gay shit in him
Right.
because he just couldn't do it anymore. He's given up. And so he kills this external this external figure that represents the queer yearning within him and the lack of queer acceptance within him as well. He shoots him with the belief that it's kind of done. But in those final scenes, there's a sense of an Ouroboros shows up, as in it's never ending. It will happen again and again and again. That no matter how much you want to kill that gay shit in you, it's in you. It's part of you. You should accept it. You should love yourself also. And that's why this movie, he ends up dead in the hotel room that he had gay sex with Omar Apollo.
Gay sex. Yeah. Yeah.
Alone.
Alone. That's important. He's alone. And I guess that's what he's chasing the whole time, right? It's just to not be alone, and then you end up alone in the place where you felt the most alone. Because I mean, that's in my experience, I mean, that is one of the most loneliest you can feel is after a random hookup, gay hookup, in the words of AP. Over this gay, after he has gay sex with Omar.
After
Apollo.
homosexual gay hookup amongst queers, yes.
And I know that this isn't this. We don't have a monopoly on this feeling gays. I mean, straight people feel it too when you're disrespecting your body in that way, and just but also it's not even. There's more to it than that. It's just you had another meaningless hookup, and it's going to amount to nothing, and you're never going to see that person again, and you ultimately don't want to be alone. So it's just it's reinforcing after the end, when somebody leaves from a hookup, is reinforcing that you are in fact alone.
Yeah, there's nothing.
There's just nothing except for centipedes,
but
there's nothing
guns.
But then there's everything, and it's never ending. And I feel that's what about the end with the snake eating itself and the infinity sign? It's we're saying that there's nothing, but it's also the suffering is endless.
Yeah. For Lee specifically, because he is
endless,
once again he sees his queerness as a burden. And part of this whole belief that he has to go find telepathy so he can make this deep personal connection without words and without the effort and without the difficulty of having to express yourself. He can never get that because that is not true. It does not exist. And because of that, he ends up dying, carrying this burden forever, up until his last moment, where he is still dreaming about this boy, Allerton, where he puts, where he reminisces of his time in opiate withdrawals in Ecuador, where he snuggles up with Allerton. Like it never ends because it never ended in him.
I think, and I also think that like they're saying something with, and like I personally have never partaken in an ayahuasca ceremony, but I think that it's like with what Dr. Cotter said, and like why leave now? Like like you two were amazing on that last night. Like those two together like opened doors for each other because they couldn't have done that. Like, they couldn't have had that experience without each other, and so it's like by opening that door together during that ceremony, like of course he's going to think about him all the time. Like that was
Yeah.
like the most connected that he's ever felt to anyone or anything, I feel like. So it's like
He reached that sense of telepathy. But
Right.
really what he did is like of course like the whole scene of that like ayahuasca trip, like they're both melding into each other. It almost feels like at that point the doors that opened up are emotional doors, right? It's not like actual telepathy exists within this movie. It might, who knows? But like I think at that point, that's why it's interesting to me. Why does Allerton decide not to continue? Why does Lee decide to search for Allerton in the future when he learns that Allerton is kind of doing these ayahuasca trips? It almost feels like I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Like I could come up with a reason, but the reason will always go back to, baby, just love yourself.
Absolutely. 100%. Always fucking love yourself because like somebody's got to.
Yeah.
But for real, and like somebody's got to, and like that's honestly what I've been telling myself recently, like and like when it comes to like setting boundaries, saying no, like somebody's got to, like for me. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like it's super important, and I think that like queer teaches us that too.
Exactly. Exactly. In a way that is not the most direct way. And not in the way that like you take it from like Lee, I think plays that like that character that is both not what you want to be, but also who you may have been. And so like the person that set the boundaries is Allerton. The person that had no boundaries and in fact spent the whole time in a libidinal pursuit is Lee. And he gets rejected. He gets thrown aside. Don't be like Lee. Be gay. Love yourself.
Or don't be like Allerton, be gay.
Yeah, be gay, sure. Yeah, like not like Allerton. Yeah, I was absolute.
Yeah, because I'm just like, I mean, like, I feel like Allerton's like the one that's like, and Allerton chose to walk away. Like, Allerton's the one who's closeted here. Like, Allerton is the boy next door to me growing up. Like, I swear. Anyway, that's just something for another time. Allerton is my boy next door. You know who you are.
I also like the reason why I bring up William S. Burroughs and the fact that he killed his wife and he ran to Mexico City and like Lee kind of represents this like fictionalized version of Burroughs, because right after like he ran from this murder charge, he started searching for ayahuasca, the real life Burroughs like search for ayahuasca, to try to find this mystical connection. I think the reason why I bring this up is because I get to the point where I ask again, in 2024, what does it mean? What does it mean? Like a movie isn't like some artifact that exists outside of its conditions. Like Luca and the writer like both had points of view influenced by what is happening now. Or, and like in the modern era, like the soundtrack is all modern music. Like in the last, like Prince, Nirvana, so on and so on. So I kind of wonder, like, what is it saying about 2020 of the 2020s? And I don't have an answer.
Ah, okay, yeah. I mean, I kind of like that you don't have an answer because I'm about to give it. I'm just kidding.
Like one of the things that I talked a little bit with you is like this Orientalism of like Latin America.
Right.
Like there is this scene in the second chapter where Lee is talking to like a botanist in Ecuador, and this botanist is like, "Yo, I knew it was only a matter of time before North Americans showed up to try to like take ayahuasca to do some sort of healing, but it's not the healing that you're looking for." And like, it's a mirror,
You
and
think it
maybe
can fix things for you?
yeah.
That's
And
what he says.
and I think that sort of scene and that sort of framing can only exist in the 2020s, where ayahuasca isn't a unknown factor, right? If the biggest podcaster in the United States, Joe Rogan, is walking around talking about ayahuasca, your fucking grandmother probably knows what ayahuasca is.
Right. And she definitely does.
And what happens there is the movie saying, look, we know it's a little fucked up that like these gringos are going down to South America in the search for the self and aren't respecting the tribal traditions. But like we as a movie, as the creators here, can acknowledge that. We can be self-effacing, and we are actually not being so tone deaf with it. So there is like this movie exists within the conditions of the 21st century in America, of course. And like, so that's why I just don't understand, what is this movie saying overarchingly? What is it saying? Why is it being self-effacing about the racial politic of like white colonizers going down to South America for like the extraction of like both resources and cultural items? But why is it still dealing with like this older generational like point of view of like gayness is a burden? Oh, you gotta blah blah blah, you gotta like fix yourself, but you gotta like work through it. Why is gay acceptance not? Why is gay acceptance not so effacing in this movie? I just don't understand.
Yeah, you're right. And like I also don't understand. Like now that like I'm racking my brain right now of like with everything that you're saying, and like it's yeah.
I think
I mean, like I'm definitely thinking like that this movie can't exist like as it is now without like the knowledge that we have of like just how mainstream knowledge of ayahuasca is. It's like you're right, which I didn't think about that. Like they couldn't, like queer couldn't exist, like, and like we understand it without everything that has happened thus far
Yeah.
to like lead up to yes.
And I was thinking, okay, like, what is this like? Also, a movie where, like, why is Mexico City just being presented as a place where you can do only a handful of things? Get drunk, fuck people, and hang out.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
I think the reason why that's being represented, though, is because that's what Lee sees Mexico City as.
I agree.
Like, which is like a complex like point of view presented in the movie. Like Lee treats Mexico City as a den of sin for libidinal pleasure, but the movie is just like, but it's not that. Like, with this is because that guy, this one character thinks, or Burroughs thinks, like so I find it I find the complexity of this movie in dialogue with everything that is happening, it, it, all over the place.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I could go on and on and on. At the end of it, though, I just think that this movie looks good. It's well acted. Everyone looks hot in it. The settings, the CGI, the miniatures that were made, like all of it looks good. The psychedelia in it too looks good. It's a fun watch. Like some of the romantic scenes are so nice.
Yeah.
And so like when I think of it in the macro, I struggle to find a through line that I can connect with and appreciate. In the micro though, fuck yeah, watch this movie.
In the macro, also watch it. And yeah, I mean, like, this movie was, to me, it was phenomenal just because it highlighted. I mean, I'm just gonna give it to you straight. Like, some dude who just wants to get drunk and fuck. Like, that was like my whole existence for about like 6 years. So, I mean, go watch Queer, everybody.
Yeah. If you happen to be just someone who is interested in this, go watch it. Like I can assure you, we absolutely could not cover what this movie was all about. I want to thank my guest here, Jacob, for chatting with me, introducing me to this movie, and I, I appreciate you having me in your home and hanging out with me for the last couple of days.
Get the fuck out.
Girl, I'm already at the closet.
No, Alex, I'm seriously so happy that you came, and I can't wait for everybody to hear our analysis of Queer.
And with that, you can find Dove Weather in every single podcast platform that exists. You can find us on Instagram, on Bluesky, on YouTube, at Dove Weather, everywhere. And if you have a little like gay yearning in your little heart, bust that shit out. Bust it out. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.
Bye-bye.